Yeah.
Unexpected busyness.
Sorry, you said what?
Unexpected busyness.
Oh,
Had
okay.
running around to do my parents' car got in a little uh they had some kind of mechanical problems this morning, so I had to jump out of the shower, jump clothes and run and help them and get back here before I had to start work.
Oh, yeah.
Unexpected busyness.
Sorry, you said okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just
Oh no, you're fine. I was just
still situating.
sharing that bit of
Yeah, sounds like a busy morning. It's nice though when when you can yeah, when you can ease into your normal routine, but then when stuff takes you out, it's yeah, that gets a little rough.
yeah.
I get it.
Then I get on today and my counterpart, she's out. Well, she's in a training, which I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know about. So it's like, okay,
You got this.
can you roll with this, Missy?
Yeah.
Morning.
Okay. Um, yeah, I look a little washout today for some odd reason. Um, Whatever. It's all good. It's all good.
Ah,
It used to be that I did this thing. I think I told you about that because it was called Periscope. And on Periscope, I would get in my closet in the morning and do my meditation. And then I would just start talking on Periscope with, like I hadn't even combed my hair kind of
really?
conversation. Yes,
It's
girl.
a
I
video
just get
too?
on there. It was video, yeah.
I love it.
Because it was during that time when I think it was Angelina Jolie and the woman who played in A Fish Called Wanda and Alicia Keys, they were all doing this, we're not gonna do any makeup phase. And I was like, that's right, people need to understand that they don't have to wear a mask. And I was on one of those kicks. And so I had just not, I was like gonna do it with, natural.
Hmm.
So hey Azizi. Oh good look, good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning. Ha.
Sometimes sometimes my the computer goes so slow and crazy. I'm not always paying attention. I'm not always paying attention
Like, period.
when we actually go live. So thank you so much for saying something. But yeah, I used to and so who knows what the heck um I look like. And who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? It's so funny because we think, I don't know. I think we all have our ideas about what is attractive, and what's magnetic about who we are. And sometimes I just don't even think that it's about the things that we think it's about at all. You know?
Um,
I,
I often say that to myself that, is this really the thing that it is? Especially when I'm going into a place where it's like negative. I'm like, no, you could be meditating on an illusion right now.
mm,
Like, because is it the way it is, or is it the way we perceive it to be?
mm,
We got this perception that without the cover up, just going back to the makeup thing, that
mm-hmm,
we used to say, well, I used to say, because I love makeup, um um that it enhances,
mm-hmm.
but what is that?
Right, right. Well, okay, so here's another confessional truth, right? When I was
Hmm.
growing up, adolescence years, I had acne really bad, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so I would get all these zits on my face. And I remember when they stopped coming, I would look at my face and think, I don't have any color.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow.
I would look and think like, wow, I don't have any color on my face.
Life would oblige you, right?
And I mean, isn't that crazy? Like,
That's
I mean,
so
people spend
amazing.
thousands of dollars to get rid of acne. And here I was thinking to myself, without it, I was just like, my color was just like blah.
Right. We are
So,
amazing.
so yeah, and my mind is amazing because you give me lemons, I'm gonna make lemonade. It
Mm-hmm.
just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's just how I am. So and I was there was a woman who in Akron that I used to, I don't know what I used to do with her other than, I when I was in college, I met some amazing people, one of which there was a white woman who used to be in my class who told me that she was a witch. And she was like, I practice white magic. And I found her fascinating because she told me so much about nature and trees and being able to listen deeply. I think that was probably the first introduction that I had to the power of being out in the woods. And
Mm.
then the other one was a Black woman who used to throw, like, how people they talk about throw ruins or something in the
Oh,
Bible.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she used to do that kind of stuff. And so astrology was another method that she used. And I remember her looking at my whatever it was, my chart, and she kind of laughed at me and she said, girl, she was like, you got like a truth meter in you that sees a lie when people are still thinking about what they're going to say as far as a lie. And she was like, but one of the things that you have is you don't have the ability to hold on to stuff. So she says, so this emotional thing, she says, emotions come to you, but they also just go through you so quickly that you don't have the ability to stay mad. Or if you get mad, you don't have the ability to remember what you were mad about. So she was like, so that's an amazing trait to have. And so I think that, I think that one of you, I used to meet a lot of women that used to speak into my life some amazing stuff. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. And I hope that I can do the same to people as I go on my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Just speak power over people
Mm-hmm.
and really see them, because
Mm-hmm.
it's because people really took the time to see me that I think I'm the person who I am. Azizi says inner beauty is more important. Love who we are and knowing we are divine is true beauty, in my opinion. And girl, you are beautiful. So yes, it is so true. It radiates from her. She is such a sweetheart.
Yay.
So
I've never met you, but good morning to you.
yes, and I love her naturalness.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's done African dance for an amazing
Oh,
amount of time, and so there's
okay.
something powerful about that.
Yes, yes,
Barefoot,
is.
connecting with the
Mm-hmm.
earth, and just the celebration of
Just
it.
a movement.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
I
darn
agree.
sexy and powerful. So yeah, conjure up some stuff. Um, hey Erica,
Good
good
morning, Erica.
morning. Oh, good, good, good. So yeah, that's one of the things that and sometimes I think we forget how to show up for other people and say, I see you.
I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
the other thing is that it's wonderful, going through this. Since my cousin died, I've been spending a lot of time over, whenever I go over to the house, I watch people dynamics too.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I have a tendency to drop into prayer instead of actually saying, I don't know that that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
What,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but sometimes we are stuck so long in being who we are that we never consider that we might be the problem, if that makes any sense.
Say that again.
Um, you, because we are who we are, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We don't always recognize when we're a problem.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You Like, say for instance, here's something that I used to do, and I don't know that I might still do it. I don't know, but um, sometimes we have a tendency to believe that nobody else can do what we do or as good as we can do it. And so we're busy trying to do oh girl, that's what one of the things that what is that woman's name? Dana. I think her name is Dana. She's such a sweetheart. She started a volleyball league here in Cleveland some time ago. And all of us used to go on Sundays to play volleyball.
I
And so
love
we
volleyball
get
too.
out there,
Hmm.
huh?
I said I like volleyball.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I mean, it was like amazing amounts of young Black folks that would gather in the park and we would play volleyball. Well, after a while, this volleyball game became like life lessons for me, right? So we would get out there and people, it wasn't any like skill factor that you had to have or anything like that. You just get on a team and you get out there and play. Some people just came to watch. Some people came to eat because we started, there was a cookout component that people would throw stuff on the grill. But when you were out there, it was so interesting how you could be in a position and you're supposed to play a position, whether you're serving or whether you're in the center or whether you up at the net or whatever.
Hmm.
There was always inevitably somebody who didn't know how to play their position. And they would come all the way from the back row up in front of
Oh,
you,
yes.
laying this thing down, you know, and you're sitting up there thinking like, okay, look, and then you have these collisions,
I was gonna say that's
right?
when you chin all messed up and everything.
and and so metaphorically in life, there are people who don't know how to stay in their lane, that just don't know how to play their position. They want to play everybody's position.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Give me that number
Okay.
again.
Are, are you talking to me or are you talking to? Yeah. So I used to use that as that whole dynamic of using that as a metaphor for life. Like, how is it that I can play my position and play it well? And then be sure that in my position that I am doing the best possible job that I can do. And when I'm doing that best possible job that I can do, then I don't need somebody to come over and play my role. But a lot of times what we do is we get people who want to play the whole court, who want to do all the positions, all the roles, and they don't realize that a lot of times that they become the problem. They become the safety hazard, or they become the reason why people don't even try, because you're sitting there and now all of a sudden all it takes is one collision, or you see in one collision for you to then sit back and say, all right, I know that this person is about to come out of nowhere, so maybe I just need to duck. Maybe I need to just step to the side. And then when the ball misses, they like sitting up there saying, see. Well, if you were consistent, right? If you're being consistently who you are, I knew you were going to jump in front of me anyway. So for me, it was always like, yeah, we don't always know when we are the problem, right? And I just wonder if we have developed the habit of not looking inward or not checking ourselves. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the things that I guess when I was looking at the stuff that we were supposed to do in the book today, that was one of the things that came up. So let me stop. Full stop. Y'all, thank you, God, for this space, for this time, for the words that are spoken here. May they be filled with your light, love, and wisdom to the highest. I am just blessing all of you as you for your attention and for the energy that you bring into the conversation and all of that wonderful stuff. And if you are looking for something, if you just hold it in your heart space, hopefully we will touch on that in the next whatever 45 minutes that we have here to talk to you. You guys, I will tell you, let me say, yesterday I did a training. Now, Stephanie said that she was going to be off screen today because she is one of her team members is out, which means that her phone lines, she's actually working when she's on here with me, but one of her phone lines is really busy because a person is missing. And so she's not going to be on camera and she'll be, interjecting here and there.
I'm back.
Yeah. And so
Thank you for that prayer too. I heard
yeah,
that. Thank you.
yeah. So she'll be in and out is all I'm saying. Girl, so let me tell you this. Yesterday I had another training. Thank God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Thank you.
Yes, I like the fact that they're starting to pick up when they do pick up. But I had a second training, and this one again was on around diversity and inclusion for another university. And when I do trainings, one of the things that I do is I try my best to go hard. I don't like to lowball people, right? I want to be that person who is going to be bold and be free, that's going to step up and talk about issues that other people might not bring up. I'm not going in there talking to you about all these numbers and trying to woo you over with my research and statistics. I'm about to talk to you about some of the reasons why we are in the particular situation that we are in, and then talk about ways of remedying that. Talk about mindsets and all this other stuff. And so anyway, to that end, so I did one university the other day, and I think I said on here that I didn't go to the level that I wanted to because I had done whatever, blah, blah, blah with my presentation. So yesterday I was better on my timing and on some of my stuff. So at the end, this woman, PhD, she is one of the professors there at the university. She sends me this message that asks me, had I ever considered using Dr. Seuss's snitches training or snitches book to do my training to talk about marginalized people.
Okay.
And I thought, I never heard of the snitches. Hadn't read Dr. Seuss in a long time. Let me look it up. So I went to YouTube, of course, because YouTube is one of my favorite teachers.
Yes.
I go to YouTube and I type in the
Oh,
and there were these look like Big Bird. And so these snitches, some of them had stars on their bellies,
oh
and
yeah, I
some
know
of
that story.
okay.
Go
And
ahead.
so, and then, so it was going over and talking about how all the snitches with the stars on their belly thought that they were so much above and better than the ones without. And so they used this as a way of discriminating against other people. And then one day this man comes to town called Capitalism, I guess. That's not his name in the show. But he says, hey, I can put a star on your belly for the low, low price of such and such. And so now all the people who had been shut out of the system now had stars on their belly. So now they thought, yes, hey, we are entitled to everything that you guys are entitled to. So give us our share, right? Basically. And so now all of a sudden the snitches that originally had stars on their belly was like, wait a minute, we're no longer special if they can be just like us. So then they pay to get their stars removed, which again capitalism gets over because of that feeling of I need to be different.
So good.
So this goes back and until of course they ran out of money, and then this guy folds up camp and he leaves town. And then they discovered that maybe we don't need the stars after all to tell us who we are.
Mm, mm, mm.
So cute story
Heck yeah.
if you're 5.
You say what?
If you're 5. I mean, really, is it as simple as everybody assimilating and then we'll be fine? Is it just that if you try to be more like us, if you just assimilate, just pay the cost to assimilate and then you'll be fine?
We've
And
done
here
all that
I
though.
am.
That is what we've done. And it hasn't worked. That's what we've done.
It so not only hasn't it worked, but how demeaning is that, right? That somehow you tell a person who just talked about diversity and inclusion to then turn around and maybe you would be better served by talking about it in this regard. I was thinking to myself, like, man, did I like fail in what I was trying to say to her? I mean,
But
I talked about Asians. I talked about the Asian population and the reason why Asians came into this country, that that we basically went over and recruited all these Chinese folks and had them build the railroads. I talked about Native Americans and how we imprisoned them on reservations in the name of manifest destiny and all of that stuff. And I talked about what has happened over the years for Africans who have come into this country. I talked about so much stuff as it pertains to Mexico and how not only did, this idea that somehow we talk about Latinx as if they're all illegal when they were actually here in the first place. That we moved the border. That not that they're coming across the border, but that we moved the border, and then this country tries to somehow say that they don't belong.
so
Go ahead.
So what I was gonna say, I don't know this person's if she's black, white, whatever. I can make an assumption. But I can say that if what you're saying now was just a portion of your conversation for 50 something minutes, then that Dr. Seuss was actually hurt. Remember I was talking about clients who need like a cold pack or they need to smell oils when they get when they get overwhelmed with a level of truth, or if there's something that's traumatic that happens in their body, and so for her, that comment, if you brought what you just delivered to the table and that was her recommendation, that was her way of like feeling okay for herself. Like that was her smelling salt. That was probably where she had to take her brain to even hold the information that you were giving, and the energy,
Mm.
the level of truthful energy and passion that you were pushing forward, because it wasn't just you standing in front or sitting in front of a screen. There's energy that's being exchanged.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
can see her being able to minimize the information in order to hold fast to it. And it's almost like, can you, I don't know, and if she doesn't mean this and she hears this, I don't mean no disrespect, but it's like, can you dumb this down for me?
Pump the brakes, huh? Pump the
Yeah.
brakes. I need
Like
you to pump the
you
brakes.
just that's a lot.
Ah,
You
oh,
know, and so it could been her way, and not knowing who people are, because it's never personal. It's always about the deliverer, not the person who they're delivering the message to.
mm-hmm.
So I can imagine if that was the information that she was getting, that her brain had to go somewhere. It had to go somewhere where it was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is more comfortable. Where I tell the client, put a cold pack on your neck, or put some oils in your hand and rub it, or smell it, or do something to get yourself out of a shock. That if Yeah, that would be a presumption on my part.
So, and I mean, but this is what we were talking about the other day, because I was talking about how my sister told me she was trying to read the book, but she kept falling asleep on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That whole thing, like our
Yes.
mind has this ability to shut down
Shut
and not
down.
be able to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, okay, okay. It's funny because I used to do that when I had a prayer group that we used to meet every Wednesday night, and we would talk for a while, and then all of us would just go into this moment where we just needed to just sit and breathe. So we would just do a meditation right in the midst of it, because it was just, you get to this place of overwhelm, all of this stuff. But you know what, I have a limited amount of time to kind of like make a case for this idea of inclusion. And so, for me, I am really trying to talk about, what does it mean? What does it look like when we see and have a desire to have everyone included? How does it look like when we have a space that is inclusive? You
Mm-hmm.
know? And so, usually I ask people the question, like, when you don't see diversity, you have to assume, I guess there's a rational assumption that if you don't see a diversity in your workplace, there is a reason, right? And this one university that I spoke at one time, they told me, they said, well, um, we just don't have a lot of Blacks in our county.
Hmm.
And I was thinking to myself, well, you're a university. People actually do move for jobs and for positions, right? So, and then she says, and then when we do get them, when we do get them, we have a hard time keeping them. And I said, well, then that should be a clear sign that you have real issues
Mm-hmm.
in your space. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just about, whether or not you are paying people a sufficient salary, but once they get here, how
What's the
included do they
experience?
feel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, what's going on? And what are you doing to stretch you beyond just saying, okay, now that you're in the door, deal with all of
Assimilate.
it. Right, right. And so, ask somebody to come into a place and then it seems like sometimes you're dealing with so many barriers, so many barriers, and then to have to come into your office space and deal with issues as well. I can see why
Mm-hmm.
you guys have the problems that you do, but her trying to make it seem like so cut and dry to me was like, one of the things I love about what I do is that I work on a contract. So whether you like what I say or not, I got a contract you're about to pay me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I try not to mince my words because I'm in the room for a reason. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to be in the room where it happens, that kind of thing. But I'm there for a reason. And so my job is not to sugarcoat or not even to give you some oils to rub in your hands. My job is to, um, you know, sometimes I think about straight no chaser or without Vaseline. It just is going to be what it's going to be. And and usually the interesting thing is that usually people really like me and my candor, but it ain't always easy.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
It may be amusing. I may even say it with a smile, but I still have to say it anyway. Yeah. So, yes, Erica, the snitches, I think is SNEETCH. Yes, the snitches are a Dr. Seuss creation to teach about, um, you know, I guess discrimination. Um, yeah, that for lack of a better word. So I still have another correspondence that I am doing with the doctor, the good doctor from the university, because she said that I gave some really good information. She needed to do some research, and she will pick up a couple of the books that I mentioned throughout the course of
Okay.
doing the talk, which is and I really think that a lot of people, there's a white fragility that was
Mm-hmm.
really, I think Robin DeAngelis did a good job on that. There are so many others. If you are talking about issues of whiteness, um, Eula Biss, who has a great podcast that is done with Krista Tippett on being talked about this idea of whiteness and what that meant. And she said that she learned more about herself and whiteness from reading James Baldwin
Oh.
than anything else. Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, and James Baldwin is so rich um in just how deep he goes with stuff. I really love some of his writing because he is
Mm.
extremely reflective, and he is one of those people who when you read him, it's almost as if I get this image of him like me on a lime, right? When I get a lime and I want to squeeze a lime, I want to make sure that there ain't nothing left when I'm done with that thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I got to get a reamer and get up in there and start, and James Baldwin strikes me as one of those people, like he'll squeeze and then he'll look and say, okay, I didn't squeeze hard enough, and I'm gonna squeeze some more and squeeze some more, and then there's some oil in the skin here.
Right.
Let's see if I can get that out. And so then he
Okay.
has this tendency of just leaving it all there. Forget whether or not you're offended by it or not. It's like I'm a squeeze it out, and then I'm gonna leave it there and let you deal with it. I like that. I like that in
Mm.
him.
Mm.
And I wish, and one of the things like Rhonda talks about when she talks about some of the writing, one of the things is, you know, like like you can squeeze out more.
Squeeze it
Like,
all more. Yeah, squeeze it all, get it all out.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
only got 50,000 words on the page, that's not good enough. You gotta squeeze out some more, and that
Hmm.
means just
Go on and on
let's
about
look.
what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's look under some rocks. Let's find some new stuff to add in here, and leave it all there on the page. And yes, and she was like, and if you get emotional, other people will get emotional. The person reading it'll get emotional. um as a matter of fact, on my training that I did on Wednesday, somebody did type in the window like, oh, that brought me to tears. And it's like, oh, okay. Wasn't necessarily aiming for tears, but I was just trying to aim to show you how you can have a shift in your thinking when you have a desire to.
Hmm.
So one of the things that Carolyn missed in her work, I don't know how to say if I should say miss or mace, right?
I say
So
miss. Does it pronounce
yes,
Mace?
I
It
hear
could
some people
be
saying miss,
Carolyn
but why
Mace.
is spelled MYSS, and so that Y I always pronounce it like
Am
yeah, I
I?
don't necessarily pronounce it like a Mace. It should be Miss, I think. So I don't know.
I always said Miss too. So
Anyway,
we come from the same area of the region of the country. So
yeah, I don't know. So so one of the things that she talks about in the book is really being able to check in with yourself. Like
hmm.
if we recognize that we are energetic beings, if we recognize that our biology becomes our biography, or our biography, yes, our biography becomes our biology. If we recognize these things, then when we feel as if there is something like we're losing power or we're setting up illness, she talks about how at a certain point we've got to stop and ask ourselves what's going on, right? And I think that what we do often is that we make it about the other person rather than really trying to see what it is that we need to learn in a situation. Um, for example, I can sit and I can tell you about um, my feelings as it relates to what I do, right? If it's training or if it's ministry, I could tell you about my feelings about it. There is something, I think, in my assessment about what I do, whether it is showing up here, showing up at a church, or showing up at some business or some facility. When I show up, what is mine to do? Is it to apologize? Because that's where I was back when I worked at the Rape Crisis Center. I used to go in and almost feel like I was lucky to be in the room. I was really lucky to be in the room. And so while I'm here, let me not rock the boat. Now I don't feel like that. I feel like, yeah, I'm grateful to be in the room, but while I'm here, if this, it's kind of like one of those Jesus moments, right? While I'm here, if there needs to be something that happens that shakes this shit up, then let it be, let it rip, right? I mean, because why else? Why else would I be there, right? I can see it why they may send somebody else, right? And that might just be to add to the numbers. It might just be so that the room looks fuller. But when I come, I'm coming with this idea of my guiding principles that I adopted from somebody else that I read, to be bold, That means I'm going to say what it is that I need to say. Say what you need to say. I'm going to be free. That means that what I'm saying is not determined by who likes it, who accepts it, all of these other things. I got to be free to be who I am. And which in turn goes back to this idea about the snitches, because the snitches were busy trying to be like the ones that had the stars. And so, I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm just trying to be and live out my truth. And I think that there's a power in that. So Carolyn Miss would say that when you are losing power, check within yourself to see where it is that you're losing power. If it is because you don't trust yourself, if you don't trust your ideas, if you're not speaking your truth. Sometimes when the words that we are supposed to say get trapped inside of us, ooh, that's like a sure sign that power is leaking there, right? Because if you are given information that you are supposed to put out into the world and you're not doing it, you are cutting off that particular thing. Remember, the analogy that I've used is the one that Marianne Williamson says, that you are the faucet and God is the water. Whether you believe in God or not, spirit, whatever you want to call it, that is the water. When you cut off that spigot, when you cut off that outlet, you are not putting out into the ethers what you are supposed, which means now you get bypassed, right? You get bypassed because now, if you're not doing what it is that you're to do, why even fall? Why even send anything your way? Because you are not a consistent, receptive vehicle through which spirit is going to flow. So the more you cut off, the less you receive. The more you give, the more you receive. It is that kind of process, right? That has to happen in order for you to consistently get, if it's the intuitive hits, or if it is stuff to say, right? If you're constantly squishing yourself, if you're constantly shutting it off, then it'll be like what do you know how you go someplace and you see that there was once a pond there, but it all dried up because what? I mean, it just now all of a sudden it's just cracked earth. That's what happens when we are not using our gifting. And so it becomes this thing of we're losing, is this power stuff that we're losing. So part of what she says is in her book is she was like, learn how to do a check-in. When you are in a particular situation, when you go somewhere, ask yourself, right? What is it that I'm feeling here? Or if I got butterflies in my stomach, are those butterflies trying to tell me something, right? Are those butterflies trying to say, hey, let me out of here, give me wings, let me fly? Are they trying to tell you that you are now, is it this thing called that we call, is it cortisol or something that tells us, or how do you say buoy, you know what I'm talking about. You said it sounds like to shake your legs, but something that buoys us up in order for us to perform in the moment. It doesn't mean sit down. If you get butterflies and you think and you define that as sit down, you have just redirected power that is supposed to buoy you. Buoy. How do you say that word? And maybe I should ask, ask my Siri or something like that. How do you say that word? But you know what a buoy is, right? That thing that bobs on the top of the water. It's like it floats, and so that it lifts it by whatever. But that's what it does. That's what I'm talking about, that idea of being lifted. And so instead of thinking that we're supposed to suppress, no, that's your cue that you are supposed to do something. Don't just sit there, do something. Buoy. Is that how you say it? Buoy. Maybe that's how you say it. So check in with yourself, right? Thank you for that, Erica. check in with yourself and see the places within your body where you feel like you're losing energy. And then ask the question, why, right? What is it that I'm not doing? What is it that I'm not giving? What is it that I'm not hearing? What is it that I'm not saying? What is it that is trying to tell me? And so when you start to do that, yes, 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 Jerry, hey, good morning. When you start to do that, what you see is that, you know, you get a better idea of what it means to be an energetic being and how you are being used in a particular situation. So if, say, for instance, I go, so I talked about the butterflies. Sometimes our heart starts racing. I am today I am going to get my second shot today. And so when I tell people about I'm going to get my second shot, you know, the reactions vary to, oh my God, I'm going to pray for you. Which one are you getting? Oh, I understand that. And all of a sudden you get all of this stuff. And there have been, you know, usually what I'm doing is I'm stopping and I'm thinking to myself, right? So, you know, I'm one for affirmations, right? And all things are working for my good. I know how to affirm and speak life over stuff. But when all of a sudden people start telling me about all the negative stuff that can happen, there is this moment where I'm just sitting up there thinking to myself, okay, delete, 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 delete. That's not going to be my experience, right? Delete, redirect, right? Redirect. Because what we have to do is make sure that we are conscious about the information that we are receiving. You know, for me, I'm like, I use the analogy of gardening sometimes. You know, when you are not conscious about making sure you're picking the weeds out of your garden, them doggone things will overtake what the work that you've done. They will overtake all of the stuff that you have put out there if you just let them go unchecked. And so what you have to do is when somebody starts speaking stuff over you and telling you about what you can't do, or telling you what's going to happen, or who's not going to accept you, or the times that they failed, or that, you know, well-meaning folks, oh, I'm going to pray for you. Well-meaning folks don't recognize that sometimes they're well-meaningless, meaning that when they mean well, it's not well, right? And so we have to be making sure that we are caring for and deleting the stuff in our gardens that are not serving us, right? So that's what Carolyn Miss is talking about. Always be mindful about the times that you are leaking or hemorrhaging energy, and then ask yourself why. What is it about this situation that reminds me of something? Sometimes it's a childhood memory that comes up, or you know, something that yeah, I guess something that you really need to pay attention to. And so so it's absolutely something we could do. So Jerry said self-check is a great thing to do. It is, right? And you're welcome, I try my best. I said the same thing till them chills set in, and then I dug deeper and they went away. So you know what, and it's interesting because some people will say that that is a body's natural response, right? Sometimes we forget that our body has an intelligence all its own, right? And so that intelligence is, or that intellechy says that, you know what, we got work to do. And so I don't have to tell my white blood cells to come and clot my blood when I start bleeding. They already know what to do. I don't even have to think about breathing. because my body knows what it needs. It sucks in the oxygen that it needs. I don't have to think about a whole lot of stuff because it's already got an intelligence that says, you know what, comply. It tells me to comply. And so that's what I do. I comply. If I need to use the bathroom, it's going to tell me, you know, because it's going to start going, you know, comply. And so sometimes we have to catch up with the intelligence because our head is not always as quick as our body. Sometimes our body tells us danger is near even before our mind gets a clue. But sometimes what we do is we override that. Oh, if we could just learn how to trust. Yes, intuition, right? Yes, yes, yes. But we also have to learn how to trust and to trust when our instincts tell us to get out, get out. To trust when you know, because I can't tell you guys how often I get one of those feelings that, yeah, it's time, whether it's time for me to flee or to go or whatever, it's time. And let me be in a space where we respect that, where I respect that. And the same thing, you know, the same thing can be said with any one of us. So she says to check in and to always be aware and conscious about what it is that your body is saying to you. So so I want to read this for just a second, because I think that sometimes I think she says it so much better than I do. Sometimes I'm saying the same thing that she does, but sometimes I think I mean, of course, this is her book. So, yeah, I think that this is so important. Let me start up here because I just lit on something that I think is more important. Spiritual instruction teaches us to keep our focus on ourselves, not in an egocentric way, but as a way of consciously managing our energy and our power. So your fifth task is to learn what rather than who draws power from you. What rather than who draws power from you. Understand that people who seem to be drawing your energy, that the person who seems to be drawing your energy is actually only a reflection of some part of yourself. Do I need to read that again? Understand that the person who seems to be drawing your energy is actually only a reflection of some part of yourself. For instance, now this is what a girlfriend of mine and I the other day talked about. Stephanie is over here saying yes, right? We talked about this just the other day. So let me keep reading, and then I'll circle back on this. For instance, if you are jealous of someone, the important issue for you is not the specific person, but the shadow side of your nature as it is reflected in that person. In effect, that person serves as your teacher. Concentrating on the person of whom you are jealous will not heal you. You will only be sent more and more teachers, each more intense than the previous one. Your task is to learn the lesson that the teacher has for you rather than resent the teacher. Ooh, isn't that good? So let me tell you about a conversation I had with a friend of mine. Just the other day, she was saying to me, she was like, you know, what I noticed, and she's in her second marriage, she says to me, what I notice is that maybe it happens at the 7-year mark where you finally look at your mate and think to yourself, like, is this it? She said, maybe it's not him. Maybe that is within me. Because this is not the first time that it's happened to me. And she was like, I could have been so in love with them and thought that they were so perfect before. And she says at year 7, is this it? She says, you look up and you start thinking to yourself where just a few years ago, you thought you were married to a 10. She says, today you look at him and you think he's a 2. And so she's like, she says, so what I decided is it just may be me. Like this might be the energy or the way that I perceive something over time. And the shift is not that they have changed. The shift is that something in me then clicks and then I start to see them different. So whether we're talking about it in that context or in the context that she used here, the person that is before us is there to teach us not about them, because that's what we do. We get caught up and we think that it's them, what they're not doing, that, oh, they don't work out anymore, or they don't, touch me anymore, or they don't talk about this anymore. And rather than think that it is them, maybe it is something within us that really needs to be healed. So all work is work on self, right? She's saying we have to get past the point where we're looking at the other person and we start to think about what is it within me that needs to make a change? Or what is it in me that is shifted? What is it in me that is trying to heal? What is it in me that needs to be addressed? And only when we look at it, not from learning what we are supposed to learn, right? If we learn what we're supposed to learn, we don't get focused on who it is that's teaching us. We're just grateful that we are getting the lesson. So for all of us, we can figure out this self thing, right? It's when I'm feeling as if I'm not enough. Is it about the other person that's making me feel that way? Or is it something in me that needs to be healed? If I'm feeling jealous about something, is it that person, and is it their responsibility to dumb themselves down so I don't feel inferior, that I don't feel somehow out of place? Is it their responsibility or is it mine? And so what she is saying here is yes, we actually need to start to check on our own stuff rather than, and bless the teacher that came to teach us that, right? Whatever they may look like and however it may hurt, however it may, cause us to be uncomfortable, let us be in this space where we learn that this person that is stirring up all this stuff in me is here and is blessing me with something that I couldn't have done on my own otherwise, right? Oh, let's bless the lessons that we get. So let me finish this piece here. When you erroneously conclude that a specific person is the cause of your feeling depleted, you are slipping into fear and blame. Fear and blame are, let me finish reading. You need to refocus on your power center until you get an impression of what kind of power that person has in relation to you, right? So once you set your sights on the lesson rather than the teacher, you have achieved a significant benefit in symbolic sight. You can see the truth being delivered to you through the challenge. You can see truth being delivered to you through the challenge. Man, I tell you, that's good. One of the things that I know and have experienced is so much of the time um, for me anyway, I try not to get caught up on um, personality. I really try to just do me, right? I whatever that means. However I show up, just being consistent in being me and not make it about the other person. I want to breathe through it and see, what is this? Right? What is this I'm feeling? What is this and even when I can see, say for instance, I can see very clearly other people and their resistance, all of that stuff. It's not up to me to change who I am, but rather to show up in my fullness and to do me and let them figure out for themselves, how am I going, is is this okay? There's this woman, I used to go to church with, and she was always really vocal about what she didn't like and who she didn't like. Um, and it was vocal to the point where sometimes it was really embarrassing. So if some say for instance, if Cheryl got up in front of the church to say something, she would be like, she would look around and everybody like, oh, I ain't gonna sit here and listen to this one because she don't, she's like, she don't have a clue. I I it, and I mean, she would actually do stuff like that, right? Maybe not quite as boisterous, but to me that it would seem that way because I would be embarrassed for Cheryl, right? Um, because some people do always try to put themselves out front. There is a biblical story. Um, oh, I forget which one it was or the names in there, but it was one of the. I don't even want to start messing it up. I'll talk about it later because I'm about to mess it up. But it was somebody who was high up in the church, and he goes to Jesus, and he was like, um, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I've been out here preaching and stomping for God for a long time. And he was like, I don't have a relationship you have. What am I, what am I doing wrong? Right? Show me what am I doing wrong? And so this woman was one of those truth tellers, right? She was just like, you know what, she ain't got it. Get her out of here. Anyway, so she was that kind of woman. Anyway, and that's cool. And especially when you get older, because when you get older, you feel like you have a certain authority to speak your mind and to say what it is that other people won't say and all of that stuff, and she was in that space. So anyway, she was just like, okay, I'm not listening to her. That was how she was. So I remember one day when I was in there and I said something to her about that. And I was like, "Oh, I'm glad I'm not on your bad side." And she looks at me and she says, when I first met you, I didn't like you either. She says, but I've been watching you over the years. And she says, at least I know that you're real because you're consistent in how you show up. And I thought, oh. She was like, it don't matter who's in the room or where we are, or she was like, you're at least consistent, and so I can believe that you are who you are. It doesn't matter whether, whoever. This is me. You got me. And so I think that all of us have to be about the business of not being caught up in who, right? Not who it is that brings the lesson to us, but just that they bring it to us and that we are in a space where we receive it. I think that's what's important. It's never about the other person. We make it about the other person, but really they're just showing up. And I think Azizi said earlier, they're being a mirror for who we are and the places within us that need some work. So yeah. So I'm gonna leave it there at that. I've already talked way more than I had intended to, but it's all good because that's what I do. That's how I roll. Yeah, and it's just amazing. Jerry with the hula hoops. I love my hula hoops. Erica, I watched her live the other day, and I'm just loving everybody and the ways in which we are showing up in our wonderfulness. Gretchen and y'all are awesome. Posse. Yeah. So I'm gonna get off of here. It is that time, and I'm going over to my cousin's house and work on the obituary because I want to be of help. Is that Vincent Crenshaw? Oh, so yay. I'm so glad that you were here. Thank you. So yeah, so you guys, I am going to get off of here. I will be here, God willing, and the creek don't rise in the morning. From what I understand, I'm gonna go to bed extra early because I understand that I may need some extra sleep with this second shot, but my intent is to be here bright and early, bushy-tailed, and all that good stuff in the morning. So I will see you at 7:15. Nadine, hey girl. Yeah, and sorry about your mom. I do believe it was your mom. Yeah. So I think so. Sometimes I get confused. Okay. Anyway, blessings on you guys. Light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever you are, remember that God is there in its fullness, and whatever that may mean for you, right? Whatever that may mean for you. It could just mean that it could just mean the energy, the power, the presence, whatever name that is for you, in its fullness. The moment we turn our attention, right, and we recognize that it's there, Rika. Yes. The moment we recognize it as there, we can call on it, and it be fully responsive. Hey, Greg. Oh my gosh, people from way back. And it be fully responsive to you in the moment. So just trust and know that anytime you call, there is a yes waiting for you. But yes to your truth, not to the phony stuff, right? It's saying yes to your truth. And if your truth is based in fear, then it's saying yes to that fear. So we got to learn how to lift it up, how to transcend, how to change those things, and begin to speak words over ourselves. You are amazing and wonderful, more so than you know. So I just bless you and I thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. God willing, and the creek don't rise. All right. See ya. Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
All right. Have an
Bye.
amazing day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.